I was like, I quit. He's like, what do you mean you quit? I'm like, I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, fuck you, I quit. So I quit. I do whatever the fuck I want. I'm the bodybuilder. I'm the career. It's my career. I can do it the way I want to. You can't have that attitude when you run a business or when you work with other people. You have to respect that it's also theirs and respect their time and their knowledge.
The reason I kept using your shit before I was ever sponsored, it was during COVID. I was training with bare bones equipment in my storage unit that I pulled my boat out of. No gyms are open. I'm like, dude, yo, this shit's really good. It tastes amazing. And this is when we had the misprint on the label of Bloodshot was 1 scoop. Okay.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, well, I'm taking 1 scoop and this shit's bonkers. And then a couple weeks go by and I took 2 scoops after you announced it. And I'm like, whoa, big difference. Yeah. So I was like, I was like, okay.
Double pump.
When you think Hosstile, people are like, yep, these are the people that are on the team. This is Fouad Abiad. That's why you're such a very successful business owner, is because you know the importance of being involved in the company still. But also, it's your passion.
We want to have a separate Hosstile line. It might not even be called Hosstile. We might abbreviate it just so it's a little bit more inviting to the average public.
Hosstile vitamin C.
yeah. I don't want to be like, fuck you, buy my vitamin C.
I actually had written this question down, so it kind of goes in line like with what we're talking about is, so like being consistent for me was huge. So obviously as an amateur, and I want to get back into your world of being an amateur or back when you were younger, we have careers, right? So we're balancing career and trying to be a bodybuilder and getting cardio and meals. And like, I'm in the office and people look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Yeah. When they're like, hey, we're all going to dinner tonight with the VPs, you need to come. And I'm like, we're going to a steakhouse and I got chicken and rice, bitch. Like this, I'll have a container in there and they get so pissed about it. But it's hard. It really is. So being in a groove is so key. And then I accepted a job where it kind of all went to shit because I knew I wasn't doing the right things at that work because I hated the job. So then my bodybuilding started to slip. The cortisol's rising. The anxiety's rising. So when you were early on and you have like Hosstile, you have bodybuilding, you have the podcast stuff, how did you balance it all? Like, how did you keep that compartmentalized in your brain? Like, as you've moved through life, how have you done that all for young listeners?
You got to remember, I didn't have any of that shit when I was bodybuilding.
Right. No, and I totally get that. So I want to like kind of go through your life and how you've kind of started to build upon that and added another thing and another thing.
Listen, I'm very, very one-track mind.
Sure.
I have a favorite quote that says, if you chase 2 rabbits, you lose both.
Right. Okay.
That's how I approach my bodybuilding career. Anything. Right. Look, I probably could have been a better bodybuilder than I was, but that's not because I was not focused because of some other job.
Right.
I always quit anything that affected my bodybuilding career. I remember being 21 or 22. I think I was 21. I got this job at a seatbelt factory, they used to make seats for cars. They would make them for the big 3 at the secondary plant. And I was getting paid like $25 an hour, which at the time, this is like fucking 25 years ago. So at the time, $25 an hour was a lot of money. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm working shift work. I can eat every 2 hours because you get a break. I'm like, this is not going to affect my food at all. But they only had midnight shift. So I go in there, I start working, I'm making good money. My friends are like, yeah, it's a fucking good job, man. You're making pretty good fucking cash. Like 3 weeks later, I quit. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm like, I can't sleep. It's killing my recovery. And also when I can't sleep, I lose my appetite. I can't fucking eat. This is not going to work. My friends are like, you're retarded, man. You're never going to turn pro anyway. I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm quitting. So I quit.
Oh yeah.
And then I go work for my brother. I'm working in this fucking building. My brother owns this building. It's a different business. And I go work for my brother. He sells work gloves to the big 3, GM, Chrysler, Ford, right? So I'm a sales guy. I'm driving back and forth to these manufacturing plants. I'm like having meetings with fucking executives over safety shit. He pulls me in his office after like a year. He's like, look, man, you weigh 280 pounds. The only thing you can wear is a fucking golf shirt because you can't fit into a dress shirt. And he's like, you're sweating through half your meetings. He's like, you can't fucking do this. You got to pick one. He's like, you can't bodybuild and work this job. And I was making, I don't know, I think I was 23 at the time. I was making 50 grand a year, which again was good money back then. I was making 50 grand a year. I had a company car. I had a company phone. I had a company gas card. It was a cake job, man. It was fucking easy. And then I had commissions on top for my sales. I was like, I quit. He's like, what do you mean you quit? I'm like, I'm going to be a pro bodybuilder. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm like, fuck you. I quit. So I quit. And he was pissed because he didn't want me to bodybuild because he's like, you're not going to be, it's not healthy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to bodybuild. So I quit that job. And then I started managing strip clubs, which was incredible because I'm like, now I'm the manager. I can just fucking sit in my office and eat whenever I want. It's not, it's a good time of the day. It doesn't affect anything. So I did that for a little while. And then as a pro, I didn't do anything. I would coach clients. My only other jobs were I would coach clients or I had like my own merch. And coaching clients, as you guys know, because you probably have your own clients, didn't really affect my bodybuilding career in any way. So I could manage it while I was bodybuilding. And that was it. Nothing I ever did ever got in the way of what I want to do in the gym. If it affects my eating, if it affects my training or affects my sleep or progression in any way, it was fucking out. That went for friends. It went for women. It went for anything in my life that got in the way of the ultimate goal that I had was fucking gone.
Do you still have that mental approach with Hosstile when you created Hosstile? And
It's
to this day?
It's different. So I have the same,
like a tendency, I guess. I don't know.
I have a lot of the same mental approaches that I've learned through bodybuilding, which is consistency. Like my podcast is going on year 6. Wow. I think our 6-year anniversary is like a month from now.
That's crazy.
Shit.
So I've been doing a minimum of 1 and up to on average 2 and up to 3 podcasts a week for 6 years. Mm-hmm. And I think that's that consistency is learned from bodybuilding. Because there are times I'll sit down at my desk and I'm like, I don't know if I feel like doing this tonight. And I'm like, you got to, man. People are fucking waiting for you. They're expecting it, right? So like I'll do it. And then eventually, like when the camera goes on, I'll be happy that I did it, right? But sometimes it's not always like, you're not always like raring to fucking go, right? So, but that consistency came from bodybuilding. Like that taught me the work ethic, right? So there's things I've brought from the bodybuilding world, but when it comes to Hosstile and that mentality of like, it's different because it's not a solo job. Mm-hmm. Like when you're bodybuilding, it's you and your career and your decisions. So wherever you end up at the end of the day is based on what you did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Hosstile, I have partners, I have employees, so it's not like everything's resting on my shoulders. So I have some of that same pressure, like this is my main focus, but I also have help. So then I can turn my focus to the podcast. I can turn my focus to the website. I can kind of start to do other things because I have more help. It's not a solo job like bodybuilding is.
When you first launched Hosstile, man, this can be interesting because it's cool seeing it from my perspective as an athlete of yours and an employee and you being my boss. Like, did you, because I joined, 2021? So that was right after you launched. It was during COVID. Did you try to take on too much right off the bat and like trying to manage too many things at once? And did you experience any of that? Like, oh man, am I going to burn myself out by having this bodybuilding mindset where it's like, yo, I got to take on as much as I can that I can control? Or did you kind of learn how to delegate very quickly as a business owner?
I think it took me about 6 months to lose the ego. So
really,
the first 6 months of running this business, I was like, this is my company, which it's not my company. I have 2 partners. My wife is a part owner and my oldest brother is part owner. So there's 3 of us, equal partners and equal shares. But I was like, this is really my company. So I kind of had this like giddy fucking attitude because I'm like, it's my name on the banner. And this is coming from my career that I built for 20 years. And I just kind of had this immature, it's a very immature business attitude. Mm-hmm. and I wanted to be involved in every single meeting. You guys can't have a meeting if I'm not here. And I want to be on every fucking phone call.
Yeah.
And I want to be involved in every single decision. And it was one of those like really fucking stupid, I've never owned a business before kind of mentality.
I could feel it back then, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So,
I could feel it for sure back then.
fast forward like 6 months, and I don't know, something clicked. I was like, you know what? This isn't just my business. My wife is a very integral part of the business. My brother is a very integral part of the business. We all make decisions together. I don't need to be on marketing calls because my wife is the chief marketing officer. I don't need to be on every financial call because my brother is the chief financial officer. And vice versa. They don't need to be on every manufacturing call with me or every athlete call with me or whatever. And we kind of started to fall into the groove of who does what and what calls to be on and what meetings we need to have and what responsibilities are whose. And I just took a step back, and I took myself out of the bodybuilding mindset. Because like I said, when you're a bodybuilder, you run everything. Mm-hmm. I do whatever the fuck I want. I'm the bodybuilder. I'm the career. It's my career. I can do it the way I want to. You can't have that attitude when you run a business or when you work with other people. You have to respect that it's also theirs and respect their time and their knowledge. And I think the company started to take off more when I took a step back and I went, these people know how to do things that I don't know how to do. Mm-hmm. And these people over here do things better than I do. And these people over here do things better than I do. And this person, and you start to learn, you start to humble yourself a little bit and find your groove and find your role. And that's where you kind of fall into. So it took me a little bit of time to get there.
Love that.
They say that's the biggest difference between like a good business owner and like an amazing business owner is the ability to delegate, because then you have so much room then for other things
but I think I just want to say, I think that's a weird way to put it. Because when you say, like, when a regular person hears a great business owner knows how to delegate, what a regular person thinks is that guy knows how to tell people what to do. Mm. I don't think that's what makes a great business owner. I think I understand what you're saying 100%. Yeah. But I think what it really means is that business owner understands that certain people do things better than he does.
Yeah, sure.
So he gets the fuck out of the way when he has to.
You know where my version of delegate, it doesn't sound as bad as your version of it, is because my background comes from military, and delegate meant you allowed in for more people on the big picture planning.
Right.
So we would delegate like mission tasks to people. And when you got included, it was like, boom, I'm part of the like leadership team almost.
Because I can do something,
you know. And I think corporate life had, and I just went off in a corporate meeting about this. Is they were like, I was like, in the military, we never use the word fucking manager, because that means you are just managing people. You are telling people what to do. The word we used is leadership and stuff like that. And you guys are the leaders of your company. And I think that's where my version of delegate is a little bit different than yours, because you're not managing this company. You're leading the company.
I actually don't think I don't think the word delegate is wrong.
Right.
I just think when the average person hears it,
right,
they hear it as a boss telling people what to do.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
They don't see it as a boss being self-aware enough to say, hey, this woman does accounting better than I do. She pays attention to detail. This guy over here has a really artistic capability with clothing, or, you know what I mean? Like, you have to recognize where your strengths and weaknesses are.
Right.
I think that's what the average person doesn't hear when they hear delegate.
And the average person doesn't.
There's actually I guess what I'm saying is there's a lot more humility to the word than the average person would necessarily take from it.
Right.
That makes sense.
Totally get it. It's kind of
if it's done right. I'm sure there's bosses out there that are just delegating, going, you do this and you do that, and they're fucking assholes. That's not how I mean it.
I didn't do shit all day. Easy.
I think that's why Hosstile is so has grown so much, though, is because like the consumer and the fan, the audience, and why people love us is because they know that you still have part in, like, yo, I still have a standard and I want to be involved in this company because I know that people love it. And I think that's why other companies, they'll blow up, you know, and I could just list a bunch right now, but they've been in the industry for so long, they blow up, but nobody knows who the owner is. Nobody knows who the athletes are. Nobody knows anything about them. But when you think Hosstile, people are like, yep, these are the people that are on the team. This is Fouad Abiad. Like, that's why you're such a very successful business owner, is because you know the importance of being involved in the company still. But also, it's your passion.
It is. And I also think people want to buy. I think people are more likely to be loyal to a company, try a company that they know the inner workings of, and they know they're not being taken advantage of, right? Like if you know the owner of a company, you know what, I know that guy's an honest guy, you're probably more likely to buy their stuff and stick around afterwards than a company that's just like a no face, no name, like whatever. Then you're just trying it out. It's just another brand. We're trying to build, like, look, there's a really fast way to blow up. And then there's a long-term way to blow up and maintain your growth. You can be, look, I don't really like to name names, but if you look at Redcon 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, was the biggest company in the industry. They just exploded, right? But the turnover rate was really, really high. Like, customers would buy from them for a little while and they'd be like, yeah, I don't know, I found this other product is better, and they'd go somewhere else. But why were people buying? People were buying because it was cheaper, and they were running like a ton of buy one get one frees, blah 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 blah. So people were like, right? So
That was crazy.
there's a way you can do that and explode, right? Then there's another way you can do it. Product may cost a little bit more, but when you buy it, you're like, I know I bought something quality. So it takes longer to build that swell of fan base and loyal customer base, but you keep the people that come to you, right? It's not like I didn't get to 1 million people and then turn them over every month until eventually those 1 million people become 500,000, 300,000, 100,000, because they realized I'm kind of playing a game. I got to 1 million. It took me 10 years, but those million are still the same million that were there 10 years ago.
Yep.
That's true.
That's kind of the goal, is like, if you put out a good product, the customer is more likely to stick around for a longer period of time, and they're willing to grow with you. They're willing to part with their dollars,
Right.
because they trust that the brand is the brand.
That's
You know
what.
what?
Oh, sorry, Devo.
I was going to say another big thing that you spoke about earlier too is the consistency factor too. A good, consistent brand. Whereas, like, how many times have we watched like NO explode and some of these Redcon like formulas? They're really crazy and they get you in, and then like 2 years later, it's like this cheap, crappy formula, and they go updated formula, and it's just crap. And
that's what
like,
I was just about to say, because Fouad, Summer and I have had conversations about this when I've been on a call with her or anything, talking about what's coming out. It's like I'm a nerd for, like, okay, this company just, well, okay, let me preface it with this first. The reason I kept using your shit before I was ever sponsored was because it was during COVID. I was training with bare bones equipment in my storage unit that I pulled my boat out of. No gyms were open. I'm like, dude, this shit's really good. It tastes amazing. And this is when we had the misprint on the label of Bloodshot was 1 scoop. Okay.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm taking 1 scoop and this shit's bonkers. And then a couple weeks go by and I took 2 scoops after you announced it. And I'm like, whoa, big difference. So I was like, I was like, okay.
double pump.
But ever since then, I was like, okay, this company launched a new product. I'm going to compare it with what I already know I absolutely love. Hosstile. And every single time, even if I didn't put it on an Instagram story, because, like, dude, I had 900 followers at the time. You know what I'm saying? I didn't put shit on Instagram all the time. But I always wanted to compare with my friends. Like, hey, guys, I just tried this pre-workout, this protein, not as good as what I've been trying with Hosstile.
Yeah.
And over the years, in my mind, I keep a mental note of like, this company just blew the fuck up. And the formulas were really good. And a couple years go by, and they're on Amazon, they're in Walmart, and they're on all these big box stores. But you look at their formula, and it's, instead of using a pure version that's very bioavailable of a certain thing, they use an extract where it's not as bioavailable. Yeah. And it is like, I'm talking a company that just, like, not to mention names, but they're in the performance realm, but also the health space realm, the health supplement realm. Yeah. And Summer and I brought it up to her one time, and I'm like, Summer, I have pictures of the formula, what it was with them for 3 years ago. And nowadays it's dog shit. And this is why Hosstile keeps growing, because you guys do not sacrifice quality, and you got your integrity with the business is so high. and you see all these other companies fizzling out, starting deals, signing big athletes to try to draw names in. But the customers are starting to realize, like, yo, you guys just treat us like a number now. Which is why we're going to go over here and stick with a company like yours.
Right. Look, it's hard. It's hard to put out formulas like we put out and make a lot of money really, really quickly. And I think that's the thing, because the attractive thing to other business owners is, well, if I just take a couple ingredients out, there's a lot more money on the table.
Nobody's going to notice.
And are people really going to know? For the most part, I'll tell you, Nick, 75% of people don't know what's on the label. Mm-hmm. Like if I went to 10 people at any local gym, even if I picked out the most hardcore looking people and I said, tell me what these ingredients are here. Like, tell me what this means. They're not going to be able to. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. And it's not because I'm being cocky. I was that guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
Before I got into this business, I didn't know what half these fucking ingredients were. Mm-hmm. I would look at a label and go, how much creatine's in it? How much citrulline's in it? How much caffeine is in it? Perfect. That's the one I'm going to use. So it's difficult then to explain to a business owner, well, if they don't know what's in it, then why do we care? The reason you care is because even though they don't know what the ingredients necessarily do, they can feel the difference.
Right.
Bro, Fouad, a perfect example of that is when, I don't even know if you remember this at all. Probably not. It was when you and I were first talking in the DMs. And this is when I was a Redcon affiliate. And you asked me, you're like, I see that dude, I was nobody. I was just an affiliate. Okay. 900 followers. You're like, do you actually like Redcon stuff? You asked me that. And I sent a voice message. Dude, I remember when I was in the truck with my dad. I was on my way to church. And I sent you a voice message or a text. And I said, honestly, dude, I use their stuff because if I can get a certain amount of sales, I get free shit. And I'd like the way some of it tastes. But honestly, I don't even use most of their shit. Yeah. Right. And because I was that guy that didn't understand quality ingredients, clinical doses, any of that stuff. You know?
The best way was to walk into GNC and let that guy sell you on whatever the shit.
Guys, you'd be shocked. Yeah. Listen, you'd be shocked at how many influencers I get message me daily asking to rep our stuff that when I go to their bios and look, they're already with other brands. Mm-hmm. So they're with this brand or that brand or whatever brand. They're like, I want to switch to Hosstile. And I'm like, we're good, man. I immediately don't want to, because I'm like, you're already repping a brand, man. This is fucking weird. So, and the reason I asked you, Nick, at the time was the reason we signed you is because you started tagging us in all your stuff. Mm-hmm. And when I asked you, I was still getting my fucking feet wet as a business owner. And I was like, why? I wanted to know why Redcon was so popular. I wasn't sure at the time. I'm like, what is it that's making them so big? So when I was asking you, I was specifically asking, like, I wanted to know your real thoughts as to why you're using their product. Because I'm like, I kind of do market research like that. I'm like, I'm just going to ask people fucking straight up, why do you like this product? Why do you like that product? Because I want to know for myself. And when you said that, I'm like, okay, so it's a financial thing. Like that's the thing. And so what we do here is we came out with a product like Foundation. Foundation is probably closer to like a total war, not to keep using Redcon, but it's more of a daily driver pre-workout, right? So I'm not willing to sacrifice our like premium stuff like Hostility or Bloodshot, but that doesn't mean I don't realize that there are people in the market that want cheaper products or less expensive products.
Also, like, there's levels of people who are bought in. So your bodybuilder wants your Bloodshot. We want,
right.
We really care. And then you have your more casual lifters. Like I have people who are always asking me, like, what pre-workout should I get? And I'm like, well, I always go Hosstile. And I always point them towards it. But before you guys had the Foundation one, which is kind of your lower level, where like your casual gym goers just want a little caffeine, a little pump, and they want to be able to go to bed at 7 p.m. Right. And so then you guys brought that one, and I would always push people on Bloodshot. I'd be like, I know it's a little different, but just take it, and you're gonna love the pumps. And then you guys got Foundation. I'm like, just go with the Foundation because it's great. It's perfect what you're looking for.
Not going to get people with Bloodshot for one reason. Most people don't really know what a great pump feels like.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They're like, I don't care.
And most people want the energy. So they're like,
Right.
they want something with caffeine or
Right.
beta alanine that's going to
Yep.
make them feel a certain way
Yep.
or something like that. Right. So for those people, we created Foundation.
And it sells itself too, though, because like before, before you, I think I had a code. You're like, hey, you don't get free shit, nothing. Like, here's a code. Let's just see if people want to use your code. Dude, I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to do anything like on stories or anything. I was so shit at social media. A couple months go by and you're like, hey man, people have been buying this using your code. Here's a look this over. Are you interested? I'm like, damn, like Bloodshot sells itself. It's that freaking good.
You know what, Fouad? I'm going to give you props too right there because Lance here showed me Nick's page when he was P Street Boys.
Oh, fucking
and I was like, who the hell
At
is
Whitewater?
I was like, who the hell is this queer? and you signed him, so I would have passed on that diamond in the rough. And
The
you
ripped
grabbed
jeans
him.
tighter than skin.
Yeah,
Bro.
you grabbed him, and I'm proud of you for that because
I've been pretty fortunate with. I feel like I have a pretty good eye for talent. Most of the people I pick up end up doing something.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I'm getting at. Is you really do have a good eye because that one was I would have.
I remember what you said. You were like, I asked you, I was like, why me, dude? Like, I'm just this little northern Wisconsin redneck kid, and you're like, dude, you got a blue collar work ethic. Let's see what you got. That's all. I remember that's what you said. And I was like, all right, I'll see what I got too, I guess.
Yes, Dad. I mean, Fouad.
That's half the fucking battle, man. It's like, it's great if you're an amazing athlete, but you're lazy as fuck, that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
Well, I was
Yeah,
gonna
really
say I
quick.
wanted to. Oh,
I'll
you
say,
good?
Fouad. So my name's Luke.
He's our producer.
Nice
He's
You
behind
can't
the
see
camera.
him. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm a very average lifter. I'm not
Yeah.
super serious about it. I love it, but I tried the pre-workout a month or two ago, and it tastes amazing. And I feel like it's just really good quality of things that I've tried before for pre-workout, and it's not like a ton of caffeine or anything like that. But I think the product is really, really well made, and I enjoy it a lot. It's just like it's kind of like an average lifter who's not
Thank
super
you,
into
man.
bodybuilding. So,
Bro, Luke,
good stuff.
Luke calls
appreciate
himself
that.
average, but looks better than 90% of
Luke's
people. in
got
the
Say,
gym.
crazy
Luke's,
legs.
Luke's got
Okay.
wheels. You
Luke's
just
got
can't see
crazy
him behind
I
the
appreciate
camera
it.
right
Thank
now.
you.
But
Thank you.
no, we wanted to jump in quick because you were talking about running and owning Hosstile. So what do you believe is the most fun part of owning a supplement company? Is it getting to work with family, taste testing, building a product, brainstorming new ideas with friends? Like what brings you the most joy out of running Hosstile?
man, that's tough. I think if I'm going to pinpoint something in the company, I love doing clothing. I'm really like
Nice.
the clothing is kind of like my baby. It's really like, there's more than just me that has input into it, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like mine. I've kind of taken over control of the clothing portion of the business, and I really enjoy it. Look, my role at Hosstile is not a very day-to-day role. It's more of a big picture. So I like sitting down going, what are we doing with marketing? What are we doing with our flavors? What are we doing with our products? What are we doing with our clothing? What's next? What are we doing this year? What are we doing 2 years from now? What special events do we have coming up? I kind of get to have the most fun.
Yeah.
I feel like an asshole because I don't push around papers. I get to
Trying
just
some
kind of
clothes
play.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
I
get to
get
try
to
out
Just
some
look
hoodies.
on me.
I get to do the fun shit, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. The model.
it's kind of all fun, man. Like I got samples over here of like baseball jerseys and shit that I was trying on before we started.
Fuck yeah.
When it comes to supplements, like we're gonna start doing like a flavor of the month with like proteins and stuff
Hell
and
yeah.
pre-workouts. So like there's a lot of stuff that I want to start doing that the problem, a lot of it is fun. The frustrating part is it costs a lot of money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like I've been trying to get this health line off the fucking ground for 4 years. Like we want to have a separate Hosstile line. Might not even be called Hosstile. We might abbreviate it just so it's a little bit more inviting to the average public.
Hostile vitamin C.
Yeah. I don't want to be like, fuck you, buy my vitamin. No, so it's like, yeah, we want to do maybe like I don't know, HSTL or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe we'll change it so that it's like a little bit more softened.
Right.
And the label will probably look a little different. But like these are fun things to do. Like it's fun to come up with, okay, what vitamins or minerals or what combination do we want to come out with first? What flavors do we want to do this month? What, I get to travel to the manufacturing plant, try like 18 different flavors and pick through them. And these are all really fun things to do. There isn't really any aspect of my business that I hate doing. And I've built good relationships with suppliers. I like having meetings with them. We talk about, new things that are up and coming, things we're not doing well, things we're not doing well, that we have to get better at. All of this stuff is, and then from a macro view, like pulling back from a satellite view of it, I feel really proud that I get to own my own business.
Fuck yeah.
I feel really proud that, I'm in my office. I got my own private gym downstairs.
Crazy.
I don't have a boss to answer to. I mean, we have to answer to the bank and I have to answer to my partners, but like, I don't have a boss per se that tells me what to do every day. I can take a day off when I have to. And most of all, out of all of that, I guess there's a sense of pride I feel that it's been built from 20 years of my hard work in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to be able to translate that to people and have them enjoy the stuff that we're doing, that came from my brain and here it is. Do you like it? And they like it. I'm like, there's a very big sense of pride in that. Like, it's very scary to start something new. It's kind of like, think of it on a really, really micro level. Let's say you want to be a really popular influencer and you're like, you take a picture and you make this post and you fucking edit it and you fucking, you do the reel and you do whatever it is you have to do to make it look perfect. And then you post it and you get 5 views. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
There's no sweat off your, yeah, right? Or you post it.
It's tough.
Or you
Bash my
post
head
it.
through a wall sometimes.
I touched the nerve there. I'm sorry.
Damn, it's okay. It's that damn algorithm. Fouad. It's not that thing.
I thought the knee flexion video would be a hit.
Don't worry, this podcast will help.
It's the algorithm. It's not the content.
Or the flip side of it is you post it and it gets 20,000 views, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there. But it's there's no risk involved. There's nothing, your pride may be hurt a little bit, but like, there's no like, yeah, there's no.
It was a really good video.
Yeah, you're not actually losing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
But starting a business is very scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because now you're investing all your fucking time,
You got money.
all your money, but you're also investing yourself. Like when you put your name on a fucking banner and start a whole fucking business based around you, and then you try and sell it, you're like, it's kind of like you put all your chips in. And if you flip the lights on and nobody buys shit, that can be very, very hurtful, not only to your pocketbook, but also to your psyche.
Yeah, it's your name, right?
Yeah.
Right. So like being able to create a brand and have my wife help build it so that it looks beautiful and it's like marketed properly and having people go, you know what, we really want that stuff. That's actually the biggest like reward I get out of it, is that people actually enjoy the products. When people message me and they're like, I love your clothes, or I love this, or my pump was awesome. These are like, that's a massive deal, man. Like I don't take those DMs lightly. Like I may just heart them and move on, but they're sinking in.
Yeah.
I just don't have time to respond to everybody, but like I see them and feel them. And like, I think that's, that in combination with just the other things I said are kind of all encompassing of what it's like the best parts of all of this.
Yeah, I think that's what makes the supplement world and your podcast like so great, and that's why we all follow it so avidly, because
it's done right.
Honesty and it's done right. You guys preach about what right looks like, and then you follow it, right? And that's huge. Right. I think too many people that fail in social media and doing whatever they're trying to do, honestly, it's they're trying to turn something they're not into what they are, or they're trying to emulate something else that they've seen elsewhere that's not who they are. And that's why I think you've said it too on the podcast. That's like why Sam Sulek got so big. He's just Sam Sulek no matter who the fuck is around. So you're getting Sam Sulek, and I think that's huge. And that's something I told these guys when we started this. Like, it's gonna take time. So episode 1, when we get 7 3 people listening. You know, it's going to be a lot different.
Like you three all went on and like
Us
watched.
three.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Zach's mom's going, "You guys look great,
Yeah,
sweetheart."
my mom texted me and said, "Stop swearing so much." Like, you know, like it's
Like, I'm not a fan of the weed
son
talk.
of you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But
Bro, my
I-
mom wanted to be on the podcast one time. She said, "What if you guys did a podcast where you invite us on?"
Every
It's a-
mom has
It's a
said that.
PG
Yeah.
podcast. I'm like, no, no.
my mom has said, "Let's do a mom's episode," like 4 times. But it's like I told them that's not what we're doing it for, though. We're doing it because we enjoy talking with each other. We've been told, "Hey, you guys should record that. It's fun to listen to when you guys talk." And I'm like, that's what's going to be the key is we stay who we
Right.
are and we stay consistent. And I think that's why we all follow you so closely and we like you guys have been so successful is because you are who you are and that's what you're going to get.
I didn't tell you
appreciate
guys
it.
this.
Yeah, and especially going through the mic stuff and like all that stuff. I loved how much you guys were like, "Hey,
You
know,
rocked with your guys. Yeah, you like. I
we're
think
the friends. We are who
Yeah,
we are."
yeah.
You know,
You
that's-
know what, man? That one was fucking mind blowing to me.
you're right.
That
Yeah.
one,
that was fucking nuts.
that shit shocked the fuck out of me. I could
Yeah.
not believe. Okay, one, I could not believe the level of anger
Yeah,
from just everybody,
Everybody.
right? And I'm like, okay, look, I know what he did was wrong, and no one's saying that it was right, but I don't know if these people have never been in a bar, if never been in a fight.
gonna say
None of them have never been.
I'm like, this is not. I'm like, this is
Not
not.
that serious.
This is wrong, but it's not that. Like, take a fucking like, just relax a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
no one
number-
fucking died.
That's number one. But let's say I'm wrong about that. Let's say you get to be outraged.
Right.
The shocker to me was more that people were shocked that I was still on his side. And I'm like, what did you think? What did you think I was going to do? Like, if your buddy and you get in a fight at a bar, let's say the 4 of you go out. Let's say Nick starts a fight.
Oh, that almost
Oh, yeah.
that almost
Speaking
happened
of
on
which.
Friday,
I
Fouad.
know, but hear me out. Let's say you start a fight. Let's say it's totally Nick's fault. He's just being a fucking asshole. He's drunk. He pushes some fucking dude for no reason and you start a fight, right? What are you going to do in that moment? Oh, well, it was your fault, Nick. I'm not helping you. You're on your own. Fuck you. No, you're going to go help him with whatever the situation is. Either you're going to help him calm it down or you're going to help beat the people up or
yeah.
or you're going to help pull him out of the situation. One way or another, you're going to help him.
That's our guy. Yeah.
The last thing on earth you're going to do is say, "Oh, fuck you, you're on your own." And if you do, then you're shitty friends.
Right.
100%. Yep.
So it was shocking to me for people to see me stand by my friend and go, "Yeah, you know what? It's not great, but he's my friend. I'm not going to like, oh, you should kick him off the podcast and you should ban him from your fucking friend list and you should." What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is my friend. He did something fucking stupid and he's still my friend. That's the
I
end of
think
it.
cancel culture is the
a
most
soft
pussy thing ever.
Yeah.
We
It
have
was,
the analogy
it was
of,
just it was just shocking to me it was shocking to me the amount of men that I know for sure have a friend who's done something wrong that they never judged, but yet are willing to judge me for standing by my friend.
It's fucked up.
And I'm like, that was super fucking shocking to me. I couldn't believe how I got just thrown right into it with him.
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking okay, I'll
And
take the
then,
loss.
and then 2 weeks later, the baseball bats come out.
That's a whole other shit show.
Yeah.
Hey, but yo, low key though, when you came out with the baseball bat keychains, those fucked.
Yeah, it
Those are pretty cool. Those are pretty funny.
Pulled out like fucking, they were gone like that.
That was awesome.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I actually wanted to transition just one more quick question because we talked about, how, Hosstile has done so many things right, and that's from like consistency and a big thing that you preach about is actually listening to the athletes because you were such a successful athlete in the sport. What do you think is one thing right now that the IFBB could do to just really improve the sport as a whole for the athletes?
Oh,
If there is one, like not like
well,
like
listen, the hardest one to implement, the one I want the most, which is impossible because of probably legalities, is, and I'm going to preface this with, I have no idea how this would work out. Some type of system where the athletes have to get blood work done.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they have to, they can ban them from competing. It doesn't mean anybody's like going to tell them what to do with it, but they just have to show the IFBB that they have done blood work and they have seen it and they understand it. That way, if they compete, something happens to them, it's their fault. Now, to me, it's their fault anyway. So that's not doing anything. But I guess it's the IFBB's way to say, look, we want you at least to pay attention to your health a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to get blood work done once a year.
You know how
Which is
simple-
so effortless. And
you know how
should be a
simple
bare
that
minimum.
would be to be like, okay, you have to register for your IFBB, status or your NPC status every year.
By
At
showing
registration,
That's
you
a
just
part
have
of
to
it.
upload your 2 PDFs of your blood work of the
You
year.
don't have to upload your blood work because that may be private, but you have to upload
sure.
proof that you had
Proof
it
that
done.
you got it done.
Right.
Yeah.
Purchase of receipt.
Yeah,
of
so
purchase.
like, and look, that might not do anything. These guys may all go get their blood work done, and blood work might be horrible. They might compete anyway and fucking not
fuck it.
care.
yeah.
But I guess it's the IFBB's one way to say, look, we're being proactive and we care about you guys.
And
Yeah.
the best thing, let's say people don't even know the importance of blood work, these athletes, or let's say that they have a guru or a coach in their corner that just looks at it looks at the blood work for a formality, just to say that they do it. I hope that if that were the case, that these athletes somehow, just by having like, hey, I got my blood work done, and they see a second opinion that's not even their coach, that they get the opportunity to be like, damn, this person actually didn't know anything about my health. And it does make the sport better in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say that gets mandated or whatever the hell. And Lance is like, yep, submitted it. Now I can compete this year, blah, blah, blah. And then Zach, you ask, like, Lance, let me see you're not even his coach. Let me see your blood work. Damn, bro, I know somebody that should take a look at that, and it's not looking good. Now Lance is going to be a better athlete, hopefully, and realize, like, wow, I trusted the wrong person. I think that's a good thing that could come out of it.
I was gonna say that, and it can create conversation,
Yes.
just like you said.
Yeah.
Like someone, like you said, like some people might hear, look at their labs and be like, I don't give a fuck,
Give a
right?
shit.
Because the only thing that matters is they are a competitor. They're going to compete and win. But at the end of the day, it might create just that one conversation, that one friend, that one coach that might be like, hey, go compete. But, like when this is all done, we've got a few things we should, really have a conversation about.
Well, it's just a way to be proactive. And I feel like a lot of times when I bring this conversation up in public, the conversation is always, well, that won't solve all the problems. And I'm like, look, there is no
never
fucking answer to solving every single death in bodybuilding, every single kidney disease, every single fucking ailment, diabetes, whatever the fuck it is. There's no answer to solve all of them, but there are ways to be proactive to at least get people to look. Like, listen, I never got blood work for the first 10 years of my career. And it wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really a thing back then. So you guys laugh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In my era, getting blood work regularly wasn't a talked about thing.
That's crazy.
And now it is, thankfully. And I think part of that is like my podcast. We talk about it all the time.
Huge.
Yeah.
all the time.
But I think if you're asking me one thing the IFBB could do, I'm like, that's one thing. If you're asking me more on a superficial level, I would like them to mandate venues or mandate lighting or mandate, how that stuff is done so that you get more consistency across the board with the way the athletes look.
Yeah.
You brought up the idea a couple podcasts back, something about with all the stuff with Bob Ciccarello, the title athletes rep. Do you think that how would you have it be done that maybe each division has some type of rep for their division?
Well, look, I don't think bodybuilders benefit from having a union necessarily. I guess they could, but I don't think you're going to hold anybody's feet to the fire when it comes to bodybuilding. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
The way I meant it was like, look, let's say I'm the fucking open men's bodybuilding rep. You're the classic rep. You're the men's physique rep. You're the fucking bikini rep. You're the wellness rep. Whatever it is.
Your bikini.
I picked him for wellness, so he's good. No, but we can all sit down and go, you talk to your constituents, whoever the athletes are, and you ask them, like, listen, whatever your complaints are, you fucking email them to me.
Yeah.
It's not that you're going to get everything you want, but at least then they know who to call. I don't know who to fucking call. I have to, if I'm an athlete right now and I want something, I have to directly go to Tyler.
Yep.
Maybe Tyler's busy. Maybe Tyler doesn't want to bother me. Maybe Tyler doesn't have the time. Maybe Tyler has a million fucking things to do. Maybe he doesn't want to get emails from 3,000 athletes. If there was a go-between, you could field all these fucking emails and then go to set a meeting with the upper brass and say, this is what I'm hearing over and over again. What do you guys think? something simple as like, let's say all the athletes got together and they're like, look, we don't think there should be 60 competitors at the Olympia. Okay.
That's a huge one.
So the 5 of us sit down. We're like, hey, this is what my people said. This is what your people said. The 5 of us have a meeting with Tyler and we say, hey, these guys are happy with like the top 15 making it to the Olympia and they want to do it by points or they want to do it by this. And you start to like kind of hone a message. Like all the things that athletes want start to pile into one thing. And then though that can be then taken and then actions can be like steps can be taken to meet those things. Whereas right now it's just 3,000 people all messaging, trying to get things. There's no organization. There's no coordination. It's just not gonna, I don't know if that's the way to like really achieve anything that they want.
I totally agree. I like that.
Yeah, you kind of have to like almost survey the athletes, then survey the fans, and kind of see like if those align too, because not everything then the athletes request, because you don't want to just say yes then to everything the athletes are requesting. There's got to be business growth out of it too. Yeah. So
well, the IFBB might say no. That's what I'm saying. They may say no.
But I think that's a great idea, is having
just
a
one
set line or even regional reps,
Right.
that come all together and then can be like, okay, well, in the Midwest, we're seeing this out of the Detroit, the Chicago, some of the Canada ones.
I think regional reps would be huge because how many times I've put people on stage where it's like, yo, this is the look that they're going for, quote unquote, maybe at this regional show, what these judges liked. And then it's not the criteria of what classic or bikini was like, what Tyler wants to see when he's judging shows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think a regional rep would be so beneficial in my opinion.
While we're on this topic, and we'll kind of wrap it up because I know I don't want to take up your whole day here, but while we're on this topic, because the IFBB also just partnered with NASM, right? IFBB NPC just partnered with NASM. When we talked about it, because we talked about it a lot last week, so we don't have to get too crazy deep into it, but when I listened to your episode breaking it down, I brought it to these guys in the same fashion you did, where I was like, at least now there's going to be something, right? There's going to be something that we can, a baseline we can have. And they lit me up the same way Ben lit you up about how it doesn't matter as long as you have continued education. But I wanted to get your take on it real quick, because you did an episode, we did an episode, but talking with us, we wanted to get your take on that.
Well, look,
too.
I'm always, like I said earlier, I'm always a firm believer that something is better than nothing.
Same. Yep.
So does the NASM fucking certification all of a sudden solve all the coaching issues?
No.
And coaches aren't going to abuse drugs and coaches aren't going to have their clients taking way more shit than they have to? No, it's not. But I've been told, and I should probably do this research on my own, but I've been told that there is a chapter, the IFBB is partnered with NASM on a different certification, their standard training certification.
Mm-hmm.
And the certification that they've partnered with them on apparently has a chapter on PEDs.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
So-
I saw that.
If that's the case, if that's true, and if it is a different certification that gives more knowledge to the coach, then yes, if I'm a new athlete coming up, listen, I get these DMs all the time. You guys maybe don't. Sometimes when coaches are in a bubble like Ben, they don't understand that there's a whole fuckload of people out there that have no idea who to call.
Right.
Like I get these DMs all the time. In my mind, I'm thinking, what do you mean? There's a million coaches. There's Ben, there's Chris Tuttle, there's fucking Nick, there's coaches fucking everywhere. What do you mean? There's a billion. That's not the case. There's people that have no idea who to call, right? So I think if the IFBB NPC partners with someone who is actually going to do a course on PEDs, on what some baselines are, what some health markers are that you should be looking at, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's great. I think it's amazing for bodybuilding that this is what people have been, this is the fucking crazy part. Ever since I started bodybuilding, people have been asking the IFBB to do things. Hey, you should give more money. You should be involved in their health. You should fucking do this and that. Tyler's doing all that shit. The judges need to be more held to account. They're putting out the scores now. Tyler's doing breakdowns of why people won and lost.
Huge.
All the prize money is being increased, and the IFBB is part of that. So just so people know, some of the sponsors that we have come on are given to us from the IFBB to directly give that money to the athletes. So the IFBB is doing their part now. So people shouldn't just like, well, the NASM certification is bullshit. they're trying. That's all people need to understand is if people are trying, then we're going in the right direction.
And something I had to tell myself after last week when it was just the craze of social media was like, after we discussed it, was like, Nick, your product's not going to change.
Yeah.
You're going to keep producing
Oh.
great fucking athletes.
Yeah.
But what it was like, we also have such bare bones knowledge on what this is going to be. Why are people getting overly hyped up about it or getting butthurt about it? Because within the last week, like you just mentioned, we found out that there's potentially something about covering PEDs in there.
Right.
And
Right.
we don't know if it's covering PEDs from which context, anecdote, a coach's context, or what medical literature is out there. At least it's giving some type of knowledge, because the person that maybe has a very irresponsible coach, maybe they just see a clip or see something, or maybe they're the ones that take this course themselves. And they're like, why was I never told this shit?
What I kept bringing up, Fouad, though, that is huge that you brought up too, is these guys, these coaches, these crazy coaches that we have here.
Don't put,
and
he's like
they're
put his hand over my us. I'm like, hey, you watch yourself, boy.
No, hold on. And your friends that are coaches, is that they see it not from the guy at the gym who's just looking for advice point of view, because they've been coaches for so long and they you guys have so much knowledge that you think is normal,
Yeah.
but it isn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of relatively I'm on 3 years in now, but semi new. And I was recently just the guy that was at the gym that bumped into a bunch of dudes doing steroids that'll tell you their opinion on how just take this, and this at this rate. And you're like, well, they talked really confidently about that. I talked about Lance, how I met him, and he was like, hey, take 500 tests and it's going to do this, and this.
Yeah.
He was just getting into it, but he talked so confidently. I was like, well, nothing could go wrong. And so it's going towards those people where at least they can go on to an IFBB NPC website and see a list of people who at least have some sort of education. And from
Listen,
there, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this because I am a realist as well.
Yeah.
I think Ben's point of view was this is not going to change anything.
Right.
And what he means by that is there are still going to be people abusing drugs.
Right, 100%.
There are still going to be coaches fucking giving out doses that are way too fucking high.
Right.
And in that regard, I agree with Ben 1000%.
Right.
And just because the IFBB says something doesn't mean anyone's going to follow it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also can't be the guy in the bleachers complaining that the IFBB doesn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is whether it helps or not is actually irrelevant.
Right.
What we want to see as athletes and as people that are following the sport is that the IFBB cares and they are trying.
Right.
So in that regard, I see them trying. So that's why I agree with it. Not because I think it's going to listen, Joe Blow is still going to go to the massive guy in the gym and go,
Yep.
what should I take? And that guy's going to be like, take 1,000 milligrams of trend. And he's going to be like, cool. Right. That's still going to happen. But I'm just talking strictly from an optics point of view.
Yeah.
Yep.
And from what do we all want as bodybuilding fans? We want the IFBB to care.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're doing things like this, to me, that means they care.
Right.
It's also a sign too that the sport is growing in some way too, right? Like
Right.
there's going to be more coaches coming out. So the fact
Right.
that there's an opportunity for someone to get some sort of knowledge, and I think a lot of the people look at the ISSA and the NASM stuff as like the major ones. So the fact that there's an actual category now
For them, yeah.
I think is a huge indication that
I
the
agree with
sport
that.
is growing at a great rate.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Fouad. We appreciate your time. So 2025 wildest prediction. Last thing. Go. For bodybuilding.
This is fucking gonna get me in trouble.
Let's go.
That's a good way to end it.
Nick Walker, 8th place.
Oh, no, I was actually gonna go the opposite way. I was gonna say
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Exactly
wait, hold on.
fine.
I didn't say Nick Walker. All right, hold on. I'm not.
Yeah, you shut your mouth.
Shit.
He looks great. You can fucking admit it.
No, I won't.
I think wildest prediction is Vito lands himself in the top 5 at the Olympia.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
We haven't seen his back much.
Is that
Okay,
based off that update you saw the other day?
That's totally just a bullshit comment. I don't,
Okay,
doesn't-
okay.
could mean I'm just saying that. I guess the reason I said it is because that would be the wildest thing that I could see.
Oh, okay.
Right, like if that happened, I wouldn't be totally shocked, but it's the wildest thing I could see coming true.
Got it.
Nice.
Okay, we'll take that.
What I have one more. Mike
Yeah.
Badass versus Rough Diesel. Who
Rough.
comes Rough.
Really?
You think he's gonna beat Mike?
Yes, he will.
Wait, wait. Somebody asked. He said, "Are you asking me who I like or who I think will win?"
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I'm
there it is.
asking who you think will
There it is.
win.
There it is.
Say your honest answer.
I tried to pull a quick one on you.
No, I actually like. I like Terrence better.
Thank you.
All
Let's
right,
go.
all right,
Let's go.
all right.
I love that. Let's go.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know if he'll beat Mike. I just
He's been posting
if
some
I was
crazy.
if I was judging, I just like the way Terrence is put together better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. His structure is just something very, very different.
I think
Mike's
ultimately-
is too, though.
I think ultimately though, Mike gets in better condition.
Okay.
It's
So
whether
that
or
might
not
be the-
he can actually dial in versus Mike.
I think if they're 100% equal condition, I would have to pick Rough, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
We'll
know.
see.
Alright.
We'll see. We'll
See,
see.
yeah, there
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Pittsburgh.
I
We're
love
gonna
it.
see
Nick,
both
what do
of
you
them.
Nick? You think Sommerfeld?
I personally prefer Mike Sommerfeld, his physique.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that with the amount of density that Terrence has put on in the past 2 years, when I saw Terrence one-on-one at the Olympia this year, I think that it would not surprise me at all that if he puts Mike to bed this upcoming year.
I've been trying to show them pictures of Terrence just to like get
I
them
still
to
think Mike's-
convert. I'm just like, hey, come on.
I
It's gonna
really-
be tough. It's
I
gonna
really
be tough.
think because also Terrence has a lot of shit in his life that was causing him a lot of stress is gone, and that's just like from I've just sent messages back and forth to him, and who he's with, who's in his corner now. It's producing something that we've never seen before, and because now he was able to put on more size. He's going to become more conditioned. He's more conditioned now than he was
I think this is
even
the
2 years
biggest-
ago, 3 years ago at the Olympia.
I think this is also the biggest he's ever been too.
Exactly. So I think he could definitely upset Mike, and I prefer Mike's physique, but I want Terrence to win for sure.
It feels like the Nick situation for me where it's like I see the updates and he looks absolutely
gets
out of this
different,
world.
yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like I need to see it again because it's been what has it been for Terrence since he's been on
while.
stage? It's been on a
It's been
while
a
for a big
while.
show,
2
2 years,
years,
right?
yeah.
So for me, it's the same thing with Nick where I see Nick's updates with that side chest and that hamstring, and I'm like, what the fuck? But it's like I gotta see it on stage.
Yep.
I need you know what I mean? Because updates look cool, but I
Goes
need
back
proof.
to Instagram.
I need
It's
that
like,
proof.
we need
I
to
need
see
that
it on
proof.
stage.
God, what a fucking exciting year for bodybuilding.
It's gonna be a good
Yeah,
year.
I'm getting hyped.
All right, final thoughts
Wait.
around the table, Zach.
Funny question to end it from Fuad.
Ah, Jesus.
Yeah, that's your final thought, Zach.
All right,
final
perfect.
thought.
Okay. No. So wait, are we saying our send
Just say your send off. Okay. Say bye to Mr. Fouad.
Okay. Thank you for coming on, Fouad. It's been an absolute dream. I've been watching you for 6 years. When you started the Q&As at first, then you started getting Luke on, and then Ben started to come on, and then the whole it's really cool to see that we're able to relate to big bodybuilders, and I think the podcast is really helping a lot of people relate to you guys that are higher level. So I think it's a great way to help other people. I told this to Paul too last time. I watch your guys' episodes before I go on dates sometimes, just to help just to bring down the
He's been
anxiety.
dying to tell you that.
Yeah. I had to tell the host of the show, you've helped a ton. I appreciate you for that.
Fuad's like, who's this retard over here?
What the fuck advice do we give you on our fucking?
It's not even just the advice. It's literally just anything, whatever you guys talk about, whether it's some bullshit or just some bodybuilding stuff. It doesn't even have to be just before dates. I'll literally be going on the way to a client show. I'll just be listening to you guys, or on the way to work, or just anytime I'm feeling anxious. It helps a ton. It helps a ton.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Nick.
Well, I you know how much I appreciate you, man. I always love that you what you do for me and for also the sport. So thanks for coming on. But I want to end this with kind of like a bro chat question, but something a little bit different. So you're stranded on an island, all right?
All right.
And you got to pick 4 people and a +1. 4 people you pick are going to be from Bodybuilding Box or Bro Chat.
Okay.
Now you have to say who you're going to pick and why you're picking them for a particular skill that they may have, and then 1 guest from RBP to ensure survival. Who you picking?
Do they have to be alive?
Ooh, shit.
No.
No, they don't have to.
Okay, I'm picking Cedric.
Oh, that's a fire one.
Big man.
Cedric's the fucking man, and he's the leader of all leaders. So Cedric would be first.
Great choice.
is my RBP pick. Ben, because he's extremely capable, very strong, very athletic, and he's tall, which will help for some reason. I don't know what.
You grab the coconuts.
Yeah, something's good. He's going to help somehow.
You can reach.
Paul, because he will keep everybody
Comedic relief.
The entertainment keeps everyone sane.
Or
no,
even
he's
babysit.
very Paul's very diplomatic and able
Yeah.
to solve problems that
Oh, nice.
other people can't solve because
Sure.
he has no ego. So
Well, if it's a geography problem on an island, he
I'm
won't
not
be
going to
able to
bring him
solve
for
that
that.
one.
No, I'm not
No,
gonna,
he's not going to know where the fuck you
Or
guys are
unless he
at.
has way
ask
too
him
much
where we're
shrooms
stranded.
and
He's not going to
just
know.
stuck.
Yeah,
Oh, we're in the Bahamas, Fouad. You're in freaking Portugal.
I'm going to bring Ian because he's like Ben, also very fucking handy in a bunch of different ways. And I have to bring Seth because the motherfucker hunts.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
I was waiting for that. I was
Seth's
like-
a great pick. Yeah.
The outdoors guy.
Yeah.
I got honestly, that's a killer fucking team. I would be the most
is.
useful of the bunch. Like, I'd just be the guy who eats all
You
the
and
fucking.
Paul would just be taking shrooms
Yeah.
while everyone's doing the
No,
hard work.
Fouad, you'd be delegating. You would,
Yes,
you would be leading the team perfectly.
that's right. That's right.
Fouad, speaking of hunting real quick, I brought up the idea to Samson at dinner in the Arnold. And then I brought it up to Marty the week after. I'm a big waterfowl hunter. And Samson, this past year, Samson was so interested in waterfowl hunting. Like, I'd be
Yeah.
up at 3 in the morning, and this dude would be texting me about my hunt and everything.
Yeah.
I brought up the idea to him and Mel I know a guy in Kansas and the Dakotas that does insane guided waterfowl hunts. Board
Okay.
is covered, food is covered. He's a very good person. Love the guy. I've done hunts with him. And I invited Samson. I was like, dude, would you want to do that? And he said, absolutely. And I asked Marty. He said, 100%. I know that even though you're not a big hunter and you think that you can't really kill an animal,
I'm
is that
not
some-
a big hunter.
not a hunter at all.
I'm not a hunter at all.
Exactly. Good point. But I think with my own experience with waterfowl hunting and how much of an adrenaline rush it is, I wanted to ask if you wanted to come too.
Yeah.
And it would be one hell of a time. We wouldn't be in boats though because Samson's big ass in a boat would not do well.
Let's just start setting.
So we'd be field hunting and you would have the time of your life.
We have to find a time to do it.
I brought it up.
When is fowl hunting season?
So it'd be after the Olympia. If we were to go to Kansas, it would be November, early December time.
Yeah,
guys-
I think
you
that
guys don't
sounds
need
great.
Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it. Let's-
Nick's
All right.
just like, if I can corner him live, I can't say no. We're gonna
I'm not ashamed to say no, but no, I think it'd be fun. I think, listen, you know, the crazy thing is, going back to your question about the team, one of the funnest things about Hostile is being able to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
dude.
throughout the last 5 years, we've had various members on the team come and go, but we've done so much shit, man. Like from driving fucking off-roaders to fucking going to the gun range to fucking shooting. I shot a fucking Gatling gun one year. Like,
Yeah.
it's been a crazy, like, we've done a lot of fun shit together. So I think adding this to the list would be great.
We live vicariously through you guys. It's pretty fun. And Nick. Lance, final thought.
No, I was just gonna say it's been an absolute honor to have you on. Thank you for what you're doing at Hostile. Love your products. We're super excited to come to the Detroit Pro next weekend. We've been talking about it all week, and thank you for all that you do for bodybuilding. We're just such big supporters of the sport. I mean, we got 3 coaches. It's all we talk about, and you've been an awesome leadership role from the business, the supplements to like the ambassador role. Just thank you for what you do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, no, they've all said it the best, but really, like I said, I'm new to this world. I'm newer, and I'm 30, so I'm not young. I just was so caught up in so much other stuff, and so when I got into the bodybuilding thing, the first people you hear is like C-Bum and people like that. I didn't connect with them, really, honestly.
Right.
I wasn't like, I watched a couple videos, and I was like, yeah, I don't know why you guys all watch this YouTube stuff so much. And then one day, I met Nick, and he talked about Hostile so much, and I followed the Hostile page, and then he was like, they have a podcast. I binge watched and listened because I worked for a company where I'd be in the office all day and no one else would be in there because I was the manager. I would have it on full volume in my office all day. from 7 a.m. like till like 5 p.m. at the end of the day, just going all day. My workers would come in and be like, "Who the fuck are these big guys always talking on your screen?
They're always talking about dicks and shit."
And you guys would just be all on the TV screen that hung in the corner of my office, just jacked out of them. And people don't understand that stuff, but it was something I connected to, and like I said, it was a huge driver to why I called Nick and was like, do you think we could do something like that? Like, that would be so much fucking fun. So I appreciate you. You're out there inspiring people. You're honest and true to yourself. So we really appreciate that. You're a huge leadership model, mentorship model for us and how we drive our personal life. So thank you for that. Your final thought for our listeners on your first episode of the D2 podcast. You survived us. What's your final thought?
That was huge.
My final thoughts are thank you guys very much for having me on. You guys are good at this. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And your podcast is cool. I hope it takes off. I hope you guys seem like you guys are having a lot of fun and people are watching. People are excited. I think that's fucking great, man. It's half the battle. So listen, Nick's been with me for 4 years. I think he's got a ton of potential and watching him grow like a weed. I don't know you guys, but you guys all seem great. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week in Detroit.
Yeah.
And listen, all of your thoughts about the show and the company and all are very, very flattering. I appreciate it all very, very much. And thank you for having me on, man. It's been great. I had a lot of fun.
You're welcome back.
Anytime.
The door is wide open. But yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, we'll catch you next week.